I do understand that this is where you guys come to for news in general. I think that's our thing now, right? Really quickly in AI news, artificial intelligence, that is, a big beef is going on. And remember I told you about artificial intelligence, and I said, AI is so interesting, but the goal of AI was never for the end product to just be ChatGPT, right? It's not just to be like, Microsoft Copilot or like Google Gemini or, whatever they got going on. It's really the only way AI will ever last. It has to be so expansive, so dominating, where it's installed in everything we do in our lives. It's probably, and not probably, it's without, these companies admitting it, it's going to pretty much replace the majority of human necessity in work or in the workforce. So it's going to eliminate a lot of jobs. But it will become profitable, and that's the idea of AI, when it completely is inputted in everything we do. AI could shop for you. AI could, figure out a problem and almost like suggest a solution, or it gets to the point where AI just fixes it. Or maybe we have robots in our house that if you say, hey, listen, I don't know why the sink is leaking, the AI says, okay, I'm going to figure out the problem. I'll just fix it. The fucking robot, which has AI built into it, just does it. Yes, it is kind of going into where iRobot kind of like foreseeing a lot of things. And all these things will be powered by AI. Now, obviously, the fear is always like, AI takes over and be like, you know what? The stupid person here is the human. Let's get rid of them, right? Like that's always the fear. And that's the idea that the artificial intelligence become what they call sentient, which means it now has not only a brain, but it's able to think autonomously, and it could make the right decisions for humanity, even beyond the programming that it has. And the moment it says, you know what? The problem is the people who are making mistakes. That's not perfect, like quote unquote AI. That's supposedly where people are fearing human extinction, right? Anyway, as we still struggle with where it's going, I told you about the business realm of it. Right now, AI is hemorrhaging money all over the place. Like OpenAI, the company that makes Sora, ChatGPT, they're losing supposedly $15 million a day. Think about that, $15 million. They're not bringing in profit, but because everybody believes in AI, everybody keeps investing. So how are they surviving? Everybody keep investing, and hopefully at the point I said where AI is everywhere, then they'll start making money because everybody will be paying for AI. So it's really a cup full or cup empty, view of AI right now. If you ask me, my personal opinion, I think it's going to be a cup half full where AI is going to be an additive to our life, but it really won't take over. And most of those companies that are banking it takes over, they're going to go away. And the super companies like, Apple, Amazon, this and third, they'll be able to settle. They're going to take some losses, but they'll be able to settle with utilizing AI to help what they got going on already, but not completely abandon what they got going on for AI. So that's my thought. I'll get to the newest news, things that you may care about, is that the company I just mentioned, OpenAI, is the leader. OpenAI is the leader in AI right now. Okay, it is the one company that it spearheaded so much of this AI, technology and these LLMs, these large language models, where it is pushing the scope of AI so far, and they've furthered the technology really through their efforts that they're seen as the leader. They're seen as really important. They're seen, and this guy, I'm going to talk about him in a second, Sam Altman, he's seen as like Steve Jobs. So OpenAI is like they're one of the first, but they're one of the biggest, right? Obviously, what comes behind like OpenAI, you have Google, who got their own AI. You have Amazon, who's flirting with AI. You have X, which is Elon's company. They have their AI, XAI, which you might know, Grok. And also, there's this other company. That was primarily the second biggest, and their name is Anthropic. They actually had a Super Bowl commercial, and you may have not heard of the name Anthropic before, but Anthropic Super Bowl ad. They had an ad basically clowning. It's like Pepsi and Coca-Cola with them and OpenAI. So they made a joke. Look, here we go.
Hey, can I get a six-pack quickly? Perfect. That is a clear and achievable goal.
So this person's acting like they're AI.
Would you like me to tailor a personalized workout plan?
Yes.
Perfect. Let me personalize this for you. Let's start with your age, weight, and height. Whenever you're ready.
5'7", 23 years old, 140 pounds.
Got it. I'll create a plan that focuses on aesthetic strength training. But confidence isn't just built in the gym. Try Step Boost Max, the insoles that add 1 vertical inch of height and help short kings stand tall.
What?
Use code HeightMaxing10 for big discounts.
Okay. So essentially, and I'm trying to explain this like, pretty simply to y'all. So we got OpenAI, that's ChatGPT or whatever. They're number one. Number two is not really like Google and whoever else, or even, Grok or with XAI at that point. It's really Anthropic. They're taking aim at OpenAI. It's like a Coke and Pepsi type of like beef. And they're clowning them because they're saying, y'all are making AI, but because y'all losing so much money, remember I said $50 million a day? OpenAI is going to go bankrupt at a point if they can't continually raise funding. So every so often they need 50 billion, 100 billion. They keep having to raise money. And they keep, after they raise money, make big promises. That's how, I'm going to show you this like really cyclical way of how, I've told you about the money isn't real thing, where it's like, these people are just creating artificial wealth and worth. Because OpenAI is losing money, it's now come to pass that OpenAI, what people are believing is that, say you use ChatGPT, they're saying ChatGPT is open to have ads in the AI. So imagine saying, hey, ChatGPT, yo, my car broke down. I'm on the side of the road. How could I do da-da-da-da? And before it tells you the real answer, that it has all this training and they put billions of dollars into it, they might have a $50 million deal with like a tire company or a fucking, I don't know, AAA or some shit. And it will just say, hey, we'll give you the answer, but let's read this ad out to you first. And people are saying that's like garbage. That's like basically using AI for exactly what you don't want it to do. You don't want it to tell you, advertise things. You want it to tell you what is really helpful. So Anthropic was making fun of it for that. Well, the tables turned a little bit, chat. Recently, Anthropic is beefing with the Pentagon. Yes, the government. I'll give you a little bit of the beef, okay? The beef is this. So this is Anthropic. Obviously, you can see the Pentagon right here. I'll give you the beef. The Pentagon has corporate contracts with Anthropic. Yes, the government does use AI to some extent. Obviously, if we're talking about the Pentagon, they're going to use it in possible classified ways or to deal with classified material. However, they got into a beef because the Pentagon asked Anthropic to use their AI or unlock certain capabilities, and Anthropic said, we can't do that. Now, they signed a deal that said that the government could use the AI for any lawful purposes. However, in trying to maximize how the AI could be used, the Pentagon asked for certain things the AI should be allowed to do, and they asked Anthropic, and Anthropic responded like this: hey, you're asking for things that would allow this AI to do two things that is not lawful, which would be mass surveillance. So AI, the government could use AI to mass surveil this entire population, literally on some Big Brother shit. And secondly, an AI could be programmed into our military and defense weapons that could be autonomous, which means that the AI could basically be programmed into weapons that could fire, destroy, kill, neutralize people, equipment, vehicles, or anything else without the input of a human. Two things that's very controversial. What do you think about the government with AI now be able to track everything you do? Know what you're doing in your house, where you walk to, where you at, everything. Secondly, are we that far ahead that we want AI running the fucking military or weapons that, we don't have to even get woken up to say, hey, there's an op like in the backyard. Oh, the op already been neutralized. We murked him. Just go out there and pick up the body. Obviously not the backyard, but it would be Pentagon type things and military stuff. But that becomes a question. Anthropic said they would not allow the government to utilize AI in that version. And the Trump administration said, fuck you. You know, Trump is on some, nigga, I'm going to get, you know, this is last term. But I'll keep it a bean about Trump. Trump is on some, I'm not giving a fuck about I'm not doing no dibbling and dabbling or like, okay, let's see. Fuck you. He wants to get what he wants, and that's it. So, you know, he came out after Anthropic said, we're not going to allow you to track all Americans. We're not going to give you the capability where you could just blow anything up like with AI. And Trump blasted him. This is what Trump says. And let me see if I can play it real quick. And by the way, they did ban Anthropic. But I want to show you what Trump said. He called them some left-wing lunatics. Look at this.
I do want to show you a decision belongs to.
Okay, so he put something up on Trump, Truth Social. He says the United States of America will never allow a radical left woke company to dictate our great military fights and win wars. The decision belongs to your commander-in-chief, which is him, and the tremendous leaders I appoint to run our military. The left-wing nut jobs at Anthropic have made a disastrous mistake to try to strong-arm the Department of War and force them to obey their terms of service instead of our Constitution. Their selfishness is putting Americans at risk and our troops in danger and our national security in jeopardy. Therefore, I'm directing every federal agency and the United States government to immediately seize all use of their technology, which is AI. We don't need it. We don't want it. It will not do business with them again. There will be a 6-month phase-out period for agencies like the Department of War who are using their products at various levels. Anthropic better get their act together and better be helpful during this phase-out period, or I will use the full power of the presidency to make them comply with major civil and criminal consequences to follow. He says, so-and-so will decide the fate of our country, not some out-of-control radical left AI company ran by people who have no idea what the real world is about. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I keep telling you, like, I'll be honest with you. Trump, at this point in his, in his presidency, he not into listening to no motherfuckers. He's into, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen, and if you ain't with it, fuck you. Straight up. I think, let me see, Trump Anthropic. I think there might be a video. If there's not a video, I'll just move on. Is there a video? Is there a video? Okay, we get that, but I don't think there's a video. Is there a video? I thought it was a video of him saying, like, just cussing these niggas out. Trump's like half a comedian. Anyway, basically, the CEO responded, and the CEO responded like this. So the CEO of Anthropic, which, by the way, keep in mind, all AI companies need mad money. So the government's saying that, fuck the contracts we got with y'all. We're ending it. Fuck out of here if you can't give us what we need to do. And this is how the CEO of Anthropic responded.
President Trump has called Anthropic a left-wing woke company. Is this decision at all driven by ideology?
I can't speak for what, I can't speak for what other parties are doing and what they're doing.
But you and here in Anthropic.
Yeah, look, we, I think, have tried to be very neutral. We speak up on issues of AI policy where we have expertise. We don't have views. We don't think about general political issues, and we try to work together whenever there's common ground.
President Trump has called Anthropic a...
Okay, all right. So essentially, that happens. Now, chat, let me tell you this. I gotta give it to this guy. I'm gonna call him the Jay-Z of the AI tech CEOs, and you're gonna see why I call it Jay-Z. Why do I say Jay-Z? Jay-Z is a nigga that says, "Come on, y'all, we tired of kneeling. Let's stop kneeling, man. We passed this shit." And then he signs with the NFL and gets the Super Bowl picks all to himself. He's a nigga that says, "Yo, get over here. Get over here. Fuck Apple. Fuck Spotify. Those are the white people, DSP. Come to title. This for the people, by the people. FUBU. For the people, by the people. Come on over here, y'all. Come on over here. We go over there, and as soon as we get over there, he's like, yo, I'm selling this shit to Jack Dorsey, man. Yo, I'm on the border block. Yeah, we own Cash App and shit like, oh, y'all niggas still there? Good luck. Stay there. That's how Jay get down. He basically rope you in when you like, nah, we love Jay. You get over there, he sells it on you. Peace out, niggas. Straight up. That classic Jay-Z method. I like it too, because I can't knock how he gets to his billions because it's what it is. You feel me? Now, the guy that runs OpenAI, remember I told you, it's like Coke and Pepsi. Anthropic dude's like, nah, we can't do it. We can't let our technology go against what the American people would believe is lawful. You can't use your technology to surveil all people or fire autonomous weapons. At first, look, the guy who owns, or he's the CEO of OpenAI. Remember, he's a competitor, Sam Altman. He agrees. He jumps out and says, I agree. Look, he jumps out and defends. Yo, I defend the idea. Nah, you're right. We can't let the government bully us. We're AI, even though we're competitors. We fuck with you, Anthropic, even though you made fun of us on the Super Bowl commercial. We get it. No, we can't allow the government to surveil the people. And then the government come back around and say, how about we take their contracts and we give it to you, Sam Altman? Jay-Z move. What? Wait, hold on. Wait, you gonna give me the contract into them? You know what he does? OpenAI Pentagon deal. The nigga does a deal. The nigga does a deal with the Pentagon. As soon as the Pentagon told the other niggas, all right, kick rocks, they were like, yeah, nah, you got to stick it to the Pentagon. But Pentagon was like, all right, we'll come to y'all. Will y'all play ball? Actually, we not. Yeah, fuck them niggas over there. No, of course we play ball. Come on, we do business. Come on. Classic Jay-Z move. Classic. How OpenAI came to the Pentagon. So basically, they backed the other company that was standing up to the Pentagon. The Pentagon told them niggas to kick rocks, fuck you. And they came to the other company that was backing them and said, are you down to do some shit? They said, fuck yes. Fuck them other niggas. Okay. Classic snake shit. That's kind of the interesting part, really. I'm not going to get too heavy into AI today. But this dude is hilarious, man. Recently, he was talking about, here we go.
With Anthropic.
He's still doing the Jay-Z thing where he's like, nah, even though we got a deal, we still got the same ideals. Like, stop it, nigga. You know what I mean? And if you look, they just put out 2 days ago, because everybody's saying, yo, y'all are snakes. They put out a thing on their website, OpenAI, talking about here's our agreement with the Department of War. So they're trying to say, oh no, we care about the laws. We're not gonna fold this and third. But chat, knowing Trump, if Trump goes from place A to place B, and place A he told to eat a dick because they wouldn't bow down to him, you think he went to place B and listened to place B saying, oh nah, you ain't gonna have it your way? Come on, place B cave, nigga, straight up. So essentially, they wrote this whole thing up to kind of like, because you know, OpenAI is other people really continually investing in it, right? Like, you know what I mean? They're doing funding rounds. They're getting a lot of billions of dollars, and people are kind of looking at them to say, oh, y'all are kind of looking like y'all do anything for money. Like y'all just want to just collect the money. Is this getting us anywhere? Okay. So they come out with an explanation. The last thing of this is, I'm going to show you the cycle of AI real quick. Hopefully I can take like 3 minutes with this. NVIDIA invest. Okay. Now, this is going to be really interesting right here, right? So check this out. Remember these names. So NVIDIA makes the chips. This is what AI is. You need data centers for a bunch of computers to run what they call training on everything on the internet. They use the whole internet. They basically catalog it, and they run all type of sequences and trials and errors to figure out the best possible things to inference something. That's what AI is currently. And what happens is these are the players, right? So you get Oracle. It's basically where it's a cloud computing software where they're saying the AI is going to live. Well, you're going to need actual computers to do it. Well, you need a lot of them and a lot of power. So then you have data centers. So you have the cloud infrastructure, right? Or the infrastructure that where the AI is going to live. Then you have the data centers, and then you have the chip manufacturers. Okay, there's a couple other players too, because you need power, you need this. It's a lot of that. So there's 3 infrastructures. Let me tell you how interesting, but how fucking stupid AI kind of turns out to be in terms of money. Because no matter what, remember I told you I'm paying like a couple of dollars, well, actually $200, I think for the year, for like this software that can make AI music for me, right? But essentially, this is how, in class and session, y'all, this is how AI works, right? Think about a business like this. Let's just put a circle. All right? And then with this circle, where's the eraser? Let's go like this. Let's erase right here. Let's erase right here. Let's erase right here. And let's erase right here. Okay. So this is AI. This is AI, okay? And this is the industry of AI, right? So one of the most important players is NVIDIA, AMD. These are the chips. You need these GPU chips that are going to be, hold on, let me make sure y'all can see it. You need these GPU chips that are going to make sure, you need these GPU chips that are going to make sure these AI units could process information at lightning speed. It's the reason why, of course, they first discovered them with video games. That's where this GPU was, a graphics processing unit, initially were for. Now they use most of them for chips. There's other brands, but we'll just put NVIDIA and AMD. NVIDIA is the company that's turned into $1 trillion company because it started to allocate most of their resources to AI before everybody else. But AMD exists as well. Up here, let's say, I don't know. We're going to just put Oracle. This is where this is the online either cloud atmosphere for where the AI is going to live, beyond just the data center. So I don't know. Let's just put Oracle Cloud Integration, right? We're just going to put that, right? And then we're going to put the data centers. Now, all of these things are needed. You need these big ass data centers that's powered by nuclear power plants, that is taking up water that could run 3 cities, electricity that could power 5 towns. You need these power because the computing energy is so much. You need all of that. So you need infrastructure. Supposedly building one of these data centers is at least a couple $1 billion. So here's that again. Let me see what else. And I suppose the next thing would be, I'm trying to think. Software and enterprise who need AI. Okay? And I'm putting that there. It's a little bit sloppy with me putting that there. But I'll tell you why. You could be I don't know. You could be Fortnite. You could be Google. Well, Google has their own thing. You could be Fortnite. You could be, I don't know, a mom and pop shop that needs AI. And that's going to be where you might need to go here to get this integrated in whatever app you're building to help make whatever thing you got going on. And then when you go here, this needs this, and Oracle needs a data center, and then the data center needs the chips, and AI is that. Okay, so basically, if you're looking at how it goes, so from the cute app you guys have, you go software and enterprise who need the AI, then you go usually to a cloud integration somewhere or Oracle. That needs the data centers, and then the data centers equipment need the chips. Now, of course, you need power and electricity, but we're just kind of involved in there. That's AI. So this is how shit works, which this is the funniest thing in the world. So at the very core, at step one, right? So let me just write down order of importance. NVIDIA, data center, Oracle Cloud, software enterprise. By the way, the software enterprise, that would be even the Pentagon, right? So this is kind of like the list going down. Listen how stupid this shit is. So NVIDIA keeps raising its worth. Like, yo, we're worth $1 trillion. But for them to be worth $1 trillion, people got to buy their chips. Well, here's the thing. Let's go down the list. They're only going to buy your chips if they're needed for data centers. Data centers are only going to need it if you get Oracles, you get the Google, you get the XAI, and those places that need it. And then you need to kind of upsell it or whatever to either integrate with other software or use it for enterprisal purposes. And that's how it goes. Listen how stupid this shit is. NVIDIA, what they do is they lend money to, or they don't lend, they invest. So the sellers of the chips invest money in their customers. It's kind of crazy. Remember, the customers of the chips, you need this to get this. These guys invest money into, they invest money into all the cloud integrations and the data centers and pretty much everything else that is needed to buy them. I don't know if that makes sense to y'all. Imagine your weed man giving you money to give him money. Does that make sense? Imagine I sell weed. You have a lemonade stand. I want you to buy weed. So I take my money, I give to you to invest in your lemonade stand, hoping you can make more money and then bring your more money over here to buy it from me. Do you get how this doesn't make sense? So NVIDIA, as per what I just said, they just invested $4 billion in Lumentum and Coherent. You might be like, what the fuck are those things? Well, those things are components of what they need in terms of chip making. So they're invested in growth, but how do they get growth? They get growth. Hold up. Yeah, they get growth by a few different ways. By Oracle, growing more data centers, and by places like OpenAI. So what do? NVIDIA invest in OpenAI. Look, NVIDIA is a major investor in OpenAI. And here lies how right now everybody thinks that the investment bubble of AI is about to crack. Because if the weed man keeps investing in your lemonade stand, hoping that you make enough money to spend more with them, that's not really a sustainable model as a seller. Imagine Amazon giving you $1,000 and saying, yo, hopefully you spend $1,000 with us. And actually, hopefully you make more money and spend $1,500 with us. That's not happening. But that's what AI is. So it's a bunch of different entities just putting money back into all these other things. And you get to realize it's a cycle. Because when NVIDIA puts in money into those companies, it makes the other companies want to build more data centers, right? Which then increases demand of NVIDIA. It increases price because you don't supply and demand. Then you have Oracle who needs these things, so they're renting these data center, right? And then obviously they need it's a shit show. And again, I hope you guys understand it without me going too much into it, but it's a really cyclical disaster when it comes to AI. And we're going to see what happens. My prediction is that OpenAI is going to go out of business. They're the first, and people look at it as too big to fail, but it's the only one that's not, Google has an AI program. X has an AI program. Amazon has an AI program. Microsoft has an AI program, which, by the way, Microsoft just pulled out from OpenAI recently, or not really pulled out, but they de-promised, which is kind of weird. OpenAI is the one that you're not backed by one of the big companies. Like if Google's AI program fails, they'll just go back to Google. Same with Amazon. Same with pretty much X, even though they're converting SpaceX and all that shit into XAI. But whatever. So just kind of let you know that. But we'll move on from here. Okay. Hope I didn't lose anyone with that. Sometimes when I'm getting into the weeds, I'm like, I feel like me saying this means I got to explain like 10 other things, you know? But I know you guys are incredibly smart. Okay, give me 1 second. All right, cool. All right,